Hi, I'm Sam here at Rick Jones Pianos with a very legendary piano, something you don't see all too often. This is a Steinway Concert Grand, the Model D. This one was built in New York City in 1986. It is 8 foot 11 inches and 3/4 inches long, a 1/4 inch shy of 9 feet, which is standard size for concert grand pianos from the finest manufacturers around the world. As I said, it's a legend. This is the exact Steinway model that established Steinway's reputation on the concert stage across the world in the early 1900s, outdoing a lot of competition for many decades. And to this day, this is the preferred choice of many, maybe not all, but many concert halls throughout the world and performing artists. If they're doing a recording or a live concert on a Steinway piano and their agreement is to play on Steinway pianos, this will be the one that they are playing on, this model. Now, you'll see a lot of these in videos of pianists playing in performances. Not so common in people's homes, and that's one reason why we don't get them very much in our inventory. It's understandably a little big for most people's homes. But we do get requests from people every so often. Some of them may be professional pianists, or just people who have to have a large piano, people who have the room for a large piano and who really want a concert grand sound. This is the piano they're looking for. And if you are one of those people and you have found that these models are difficult to find, I would strongly encourage you to come out and see this for yourself and play it for yourself. It's a really magnificent sound, and a very smooth touch too. It is a piano we have reconditioned. We didn't have to replace anything, I don't believe, other than I worked on the pedals and I replaced some felts and leathers, just minor repairs here and there to make it right again. My colleagues have done a beautiful job re-rubbing the finish. This is a satin ebony finish, the standard issue from Steinway for many decades in New York. All the brass is super shiny. It has been regulated very meticulously. It's a thorough, full regulation, as this piano would deserve, although we do a thorough regulation on any piano going out in their inventory anyway. It's been tuned, and it's in really beautiful condition. Oftentimes, concert grand pianos get used very heavily, and I know when we've had them come in the past, they often need new parts, but that wasn't really the case with this piano. The hammers are, as I believe, they're original, and they haven't been heavily played as much. It's more of a piano that was used relatively not often compared to other concert grands that, they get a lot of wear and tear in institutions, and they'll have to get new parts in 5 or 10 years sometimes, and it's worth it for them, but this piano's had an easier life. And so we're more than comfortable putting a 10-year warranty on this piano, all parts and labor, and 100% lifetime trade-up guarantee. Now, you will probably find that more relevant if you're an existing customer and you are looking to upgrade your current piano that you purchased from us. We do ask of anyone who purchases a piano from us that please make sure it's in tune twice a year by a professional technician, and please keep it in a good humidity situation. That's a situation of moderate and stable humidity. It's important for keeping any piano of any brand in good condition, particularly the wooden components, and you would certainly want to do that with such a treasure as this piano. And as I said, this probably is not going to be relevant as a piano that you would trade up from. This is easily many people's last piano, if they should choose to have one. And if you're an existing customer and you have virtually any piano that we've ever sold, and you want to trade up to this piano, you will be eligible for that full 100% trade-in, whatever you paid for your existing piano. That's what we mean by 100% trade-up. Usually it's people trading up from an upright to a baby grand, or a baby grand to a larger grand, but if you've been having your eye on a concert grand, you're certainly welcome to come try this out and make a decision about trading up if you want. Now I can add that the new Steinway model, as I understand, only has a 5-year warranty. I believe it's been that way for a very long time. Not that we want to impinge the quality of a new Steinway concert grand. When we get late model Steinways here in their inventory, used, but made more recently, since the 80s or 90s or so, we see that the quality has remained excellent throughout the years. The materials are excellent. The woods in the construction of the piano are very hard rock maple and such. And they haven't had to change their design on these pianos hardly at all. The way the strings are, I think this has been the same design for at least 120 years. That's called the scale design. So that's the shape of the plate, the bridges, soundboard, how that determines the layout of the strings, and that all basically determines the essential sound of the piano. That hasn't had to change on this model for a very long time. Steinway nailed it a long time ago, and that's what they built their reputation on. And so that's what they still make today in New York, same scale. And we know it's an excellent piano. We'll hear them in videos, in concerts. I certainly watch a lot of videos on YouTube of pianists, classical pianists especially, making concerts on this model. And they sound beautiful, and they're wonderfully prepared. But we can remind you that a new one does list for $217,300, and that Steinway dealers are, as I understand, not required to come down upon their MSRP price. You pay Steinway's price or you get a different piano. Suffice it to say, in as good condition as this piano is, and as thoroughly prepared as it has been, regulated, tuned, cleaned up to make it into a beautiful piece of furniture too, you will be welcome to go look at a new Steinway concert grand. I'm sure you'll find it's quite beautiful, but for less than half the price, I think I would strongly encourage you to come play this piano for yourself and see how wonderful it has turned out. For the price that we have it at, I think you'll be very impressed with what this piano can do. And speaking of that, I didn't play, I don't have repertoire right now that spans all 88 keys, but we have to listen to the lowest notes on the concert grand piano, and so I will demonstrate them. So there's the sound that you would be looking for. This piano is very capable with about as wide of a dynamic range as you can expect out of any piano. And it's designed for that. Concert grands, they have the larger soundboard, of course, and longer strings, which they're thinner and longer, so that makes them less stiff and able to produce a much more clear sound, such as you just heard there. And that larger soundboard does give this piano a tremendous tonal projection. It's designed to fill up a concert hall. But that, in my opinion, doesn't necessarily mean the piano's just a louder piano. It can be, certainly, if you play it loudly, but part of what makes these pianos, these concert instruments, so desirable is not only the louder range that you can get, but the really tight control you can get on the softer range too. And a large part of that is because of the action, the way it's designed. The keys on the outsides, you might guess, are the same size. This is the same length as any other Steinway, certainly Steinway B. But the key is a lever, and it extends further into the action behind the key cover here, the fall board. And eventually that lever reaches the fulcrum where it pivots, and then the rest of it connects to the hammer, and it's the whole action mechanism. The keys on this piano are easily the longest internally that we have in our inventory now, and amongst the longest that you would find on any piano being made. And they can afford to make this into a very long lever because it's such a big piano. And I know professional pianists value that so much because the difference in leverage between the front of the key and the back of the key is, wow, it's very little. So they can play in any key such as the music requires, F sharp major, whatever. Music that requires their hands to sort of go right to the end of the keys, like hitting the fall board. And a lot of difficult repertoire will do that, such as what professional pianists will play. But they'll get the same leverage, they'll get the same sort of feel at the back of the key as they would at the front of the key, very, very nearly the same. The shorter the keys are internally, the worse that gets, and on a spin piano, for example, it's pretty bad. The fulcrum is just barely beyond the edge of the key, and you get very poor leverage. So this is the complete opposite. That's what makes this action so responsive and smooth. That's a large part of it. And I should remind you, it's bigger than the Steinway D, which is in itself a very desirable piano, 6'10.5" inches. That's often the piano of choice for professional pianists to practice on at home, teachers, recording studios who don't have the room for a larger piano or budget. But with the Steinway Model D, it's that much better, and that's what this piano can deliver. And yeah, you saw me just now. I was really quite blown away by how responsive that was. Really quite wonderful. So, having said all that, I'll rate the tone of this piano a 5 on a scale from 1 to 10. It has Steinway's signature warm sound, and all the subtlety that you would expect out of such an action as this. You can play it very softly and get a really whisper, soft, clear sounds too. It's not a mellow sounding piano. You wouldn't maybe want it to be too mellow sounding if it's going to project into a large room, but there's no hint of harshness either. It's a very agreeable, neutral sound. So again, something that works for all sorts of music. You'll get a 5 on a scale from 1 to 10 for the tone. And then finally the touch, firm, which is to be expected on the piano of such mass. The hammers are larger on this piano than it would be on any other piano, matching the longer strings. That gives the action a much more massive feel. It's not a hard feel, really. It's very smooth, and it feels fast when you need it to feel fast, but just because you're moving so much mass, the keys are longer, the hammers are bigger for a bigger piano. It has the massive feel of a concert grand action. So again, if you're a professional pianist and you need to get used to that at home, and you know exactly what I'm talking about, I'm sure, that's what this piano will deliver for you. So I'll rate it a 6 on the scale from 1 to 10, from light to firm. It's not especially hard, but it has that massive feel of a concert grand action. And so a 6 on this scale for a concert grand is not going to feel like a 6 on a Steinway upright. It's a different feel for sure. But it does have a somewhat firm touch, not too hard, but what you would expect from a Steinway made at this time period. And I guess one more thing here, it does have a very substantial bench here. Not a Jansen, and I forget who made this one, but it is a leather concert bench, adjust up and down, mechanisms on the underside to allow the seat to be adjusted up and down. And that's what came with this piano, so that will be included with this piano along with the warranty, trade-up guarantee if it's ever relevant, and of course free local delivery within 100 miles and the first tuning within 6 months free. So, Legend of the Piano, really quite amazing. Haven't had one here in our inventory in, I want to say, about 5 years. It's been quite a while, this model, I mean. If you've been looking for it, I strongly encourage you to come see it for yourself. But if you can't make it, you can always give us a phone call and we'll be happy to help you with it.